We have a bit of a problem in my house. Ever since my daughter has been born, we've accumulated a ton more movies. Mostly movies for her to watch, and as you can tell, we're pretty much running out of room. The idea here was to come up with a really simple solution that we could quickly put together and have not only room for the movies and things that she has now, but room for growth in the future. I'm starting this project much like a lot of them. I'm breaking down each of the parts that I need for all of these boxes into a rough size. The next step, obviously, is to take all these parts that I've cut to rough size and to rip them down to their final width at the table saw. The slat that goes across the back that is used to actually mount the boxes to the wall is cut slightly narrower than the rest of the boards that make up the boxes themselves. To cut all the parts down to their final length, I'm going to use my miter gauge. I first start off by cutting one clean end on every board because obviously the cuts aren't going to be very square to begin with. So I first do that, and then using my tape measure I can set the distance from the blade to the stop block so that I can break down each part to their final dimension. Next, I'm going to glue the boxes up, and at this point I'm just going to hold everything together with just a glue alone. I'll spread glue on the end grain of the two vertical pieces on the end of the box and then clamp them up. This process pretty much took all the F-style clamps that I have in my shop, or the ones that were actually long enough to fit on these boxes. And so I just sort of glued up a couple at a time. Going once they had dried, I could unclamp them and then clamp up a couple more boxes. To hold the boxes together, I'm going to use countersunk screws. And anytime I'm doing that in a project, even if it's going to be covered up like these are, I like to evenly space them out. And I'm using both of my combination squares here to give me a reference point to know exactly where to drill each of the holes. To mount the boxes to the wall and to maybe give a little more strength to the overall boxes, I'm going to add this horizontal piece across the width of the box itself. And to do so, I'm going to first cut it to length until I got a nice snug fit, and then use pocket screws and glue to hold them in place. Just like before, when it came to actually gluing the boxes up and putting them together, I'll do the same here and just first glue them in place and clamp them and let them dry, and then come back later and drive the screws. This really helps prevent the pieces from sliding and moving around while you're actually driving the screws. Normally on a project I would use some sort of plugs to plug the screw holes with, but to keep things simple here, I'm just going to use wood filler. Once I've given the wood filler and everything plenty of time to dry, I'll start to sand the boxes down. First off here, I'm using a sanding block, trying to make sure that all of the face edges of the boxes are nice and even, because that's really the main part of each one of these boxes that's going to be seen once they're mounted to the wall. Once I'm satisfied that the front edges of the boxes are all nice and flat and all in the same plane and even with one another, I'll sand the rest of the boxes with my random orbit sander, making sure that they're nice and smooth before time to apply the primer. At this point, I've already brushed a coat of primer onto each of the boxes and then went back and sanded that smooth with 220 grit sandpaper, and now I can start applying some color. Because these shelves are going in my daughter's room, I wanted to have sort of a playful and colorful look to them, so I decided to paint each one of the boxes a different color. And most of these colors that I have are actually just leftovers from gallons of paint either that we bought in the past or we bought as samples, and so I really didn't even have to end up buying any paint. I just sort of picked some different random colors that I thought would kind of complement each other and would look good on the boxes. Other than the fact of how long it actually took to brush each one of these boxes out, this was kind of the fun part, just sort of picking out different colors and seeing what they would look like on the boxes. Now that they're painted and ready to hang, I guess this is a good time to actually go back and add the pocket screws that I forgot to add earlier. And at this point, I will also go ahead and pre-drill through the back of the smaller boxes so that I can mount them to the wall. My daughter, who started pre-K not long ago, has just recently learned how to write her own name, so I figured it would be kind of cool on one of these lighter colored boxes to let her write her name on top of it, and maybe years down the road we'll sort of be able to look back at it and remember this time of when we made these boxes for her room. On the smaller boxes, I really only had one mounting location because of where the studs fell and these boxes being so small, so I just stacked one screw on top of the other, and I figured that should be adequate enough, being that these are basically just going to be holding DVDs. Oh, come on! Good job. Here, let me see them.
I don't want to put them up.
You can put some up next. Let's go get some more.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You put what?
My goat in there.
Alright. There we go. That's a good space for the dogs. So this was a really simple but also a much needed project for our house. I know, as you could tell in the early parts of the video, we really needed this movie storage, and now having all of Emma's movies in here, they're easy access for her, as well as we got a little bit of extra storage for toys and things like that. I just hope that it stays this nice and neat and organized more than just a couple of days. Now, if you'd like to be able to build this project for yourself, I have an article linked in the description down below. There's also a free set of plans for this project. If you like the video, don't forget to like, share, and comment. I really appreciate all the comments that I get every week, and sharing the videos really helps me out a lot. I'd also like for you to subscribe. I have a new video out every Sunday, as well as I have a second channel set up now. I'll link that in the description below too. On there, I'm going to have like a weekly vlog video, as well as tool reviews, unboxing videos, and maybe even some small shop projects. I want to keep this main channel just free and clear and just for regular shop project or regular project videos, and keep all the other stuff on the other channel. So until next time, happy trails. Thanks for watching.